In the midst of the post-SummerSlam bliss, it's time for 3 hours of Raw Dogging. If you've got the time, I've got the lube. Let's go. I'm John Renton with my review of WWE Raw from Baltimore, Maryland. There's nothing like a Baltimore wrestling crowd. When they're fired up, holy fucking shit. The rich history of professional wrestling in the city of Baltimore, from Vince Sr. to Vince Jr. to Jim Crockett Promotions to WCW. So many great moments. There were actually a few pretty decent moments on this particular show, and thank you guys, by the way, for tuning in to the SummerSlam review, even though I had to review it on delay. Only diehard MST3K fans will get that. I'm really glad you guys enjoyed it. So, I was looking forward to this because I wanted to see how they were going to follow up SummerSlam, and you know what? They did all right. There were a couple of points where I thought the crowd had just fallen asleep, but there were a lot of points where the crowd was really, really up. So, I do also want to say, in regards to Raw next week, I'll see if I'm going to review it, and that's because I'm actually going to go watch a special screen of a movie called Skincare. And because I do work long hours on Monday, if I just don't have the time, I apologize. So, there we go. 14,000 seat capacity, and they had a slap dab sellout for the setup, but 11,200 or 11,800, according to WWE. We get SummerSlam clips, and the first hour of Raw is commercial free. We see Priest, we see Dominic, and we see Liv. If her shorts get any shorter, they're going to be a belt. And then we get Steiner, and we get everybody's arriving. Everybody's arriving. It's a new day. Wait, they're on later. So Kaiser is in the ring, rather. He is back after his injury. I don't remember what his injury was, but thankfully he is back, and he introduces the Ring General, Gunther. And he comes out, he gets pyro. He has all the smugness about him. And he talks about, bringing prestige to this championship. He, commentary mentions how he was the WWE UK champion for a while, like 800-something days. 666 days as an Intercontinental champion, which was a perfect goddamn number to end on. And he will face anyone. No one will catch him by surprise. And here's Randy Orton. Because what brand split? Look, I know the brand split in general probably means a lot more to diehards and people that care about the minutia, but don't have a brand split if you're not going to hold to it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's stupid to do it. Just do some trades throughout the year. So they do a sing-along to Randy Orton's theme. Orton references the botched finish at King of the Ring in Saudi Arabia. They got to leave with their heads intact, so at least that's a good thing. And I think we need a sequel. I think we need a modern-day Flair and Steamboat. There is one thing that this feud will not be, and that is a modern-day Flair and Steamboat. I appreciate the effort, but no. So, Gunther is ready to face him, and basically finishes up with, nothing can catch me out of nowhere. And Orton says, I don't want to catch you out of nowhere. I want you to see it coming. Up right in the eye. Anyway, so yeah, that was fine. Then Jackie talks to Sheamus. I'm here with Sheamus. Yes, Jackie, we see the giant Irish man with the beaker-like haircut right next to you. Thanks. He's going to face Kaiser. Then he did. Kaiser feigned a wrist injury. I guess he hurt his wrist. I thought he hurt his shoulder, but feigned an injury. But he just did it as a rib. This was fine. They fired up. They did some good stuff. They went at it. They clubbed each other. I'm not going to they had better matches before this, but this was a fine way to kick it off. The first match of the first hour that's commercial free. And then later Pete Dunne tried to attack Sheamus, but he managed to knock him out. And then you're thinking that Kaiser might get the victory because of the distraction. No, bro kick soon after. 1, 2, 3. And Pete's like, okay, my work is done. What do you mean Sheamus won? Good job. Good job, Pete. Good work. Apparently, and I just want to sidetrack here a little bit. In regards to AEW news, apparently the Lucha Bros are not going to renew their AEW contracts. Their contracts are set to expire. They were going to be part of All In, but apparently they're expiring very soon. Rumor has it, as that Adele song now plays in your head, you're welcome, they may be WWE bound. Now, maybe they stay in AEW, I don't know. I don't blame them if they want to leave. They've been there for 5 fucking years. And a little over 5 years now that I think about it. If they want to go to WWE, great. If they want to wrestle Mexico a little bit and then wrestle in WWE, great. At this point, they might as well. I mean, Phoenix is not getting any younger or any less injured. And Penta, I think, can fit in just fine. As long as if you're going to have him in NXT, though, just have him take out Booker, and that'll make him the biggest babyface tag team. Because then we'll actually have good commentary on NXT. Because Vic Joseph is good. He's just a one-man army. So, 11 years ago, the Wyatts actually debuted in the same building in Baltimore. I forgot about that. My buddy in San Antonio actually brought that up to me. And we see recaps of the Wyatts, when they first debuted. And then we see recent attacks. Like when they laid out everybody backstage and nobody called the police and like 40 to 50 people were murdered. And why did you start with that? I will never get over that they started with that. You can't just create a moment and then be like, okay, now we're going to build up this stuff about them. Whatever. Those that like it, great. You know how I feel. Or maybe you don't. Maybe. I'm going to surprise you. SummerSlam recaps. Priest comes out all pissed. He feels betrayed. He feels that the Judgment Day, accepted, it made him feel like he belonged, that they were his family, but then they betrayed him. And now he's got a new family with blackjack and hookers. It is Baltimore. I'm sorry. I'm not. I've heard a lot about Baltimore. I've heard good things. I've also heard a lot of other things. Let's just move on from talking about Baltimore. If you live in Baltimore, how is it? Is it a nice city? Is it a hooker city? That doesn't mean it is all bad. But he talks about how he has a new family, gestures to the goddamn crowd. Okay. You're going to need a bigger house if that's your entire family. You're going to need to sublet the entire apartment complex. Possibly 3. So, basically, he talks about, Balor. When Balor is suffering, I want you to know that I'm the reason for your pain. So come out and let the beatings begin. The Benoit household had the same thing, and we saw how that family turned out. Let's move on. Actually, that's what the Von Erichs actually said, because that's how Fritz got his kids into the wrestling business, apparently, allegedly, possibly. Finn's on the screen. So, after Finn lost his chance to become champion, and Damien, I believe, had the briefcase, he was like, oh, well, I had my chance, and you said, just suck it up, it'll be all right. I waited a year and attacked him. I'm trying to remember when Finn actually last had a championship match. I don't particularly give a shit. Not because I don't like Finn, but because I also don't have a reason to care about Finn. But at least they're trying to build it. They're trying to add some history. And now the new Judgment Day is Balor leading JD, Carlito, Dominic, and Liv. And I thought NWO Black and White 99 was depleted. I know the point, but people say, well, Balor led Bullet Club. Yeah, good. Let's reference a gimmick that, stable that is way past its goddamn sale date. So nevertheless, okay, Carlito's there. Okay, whatever. It's fine. So, here comes Bronson, wants to make his mark. First, Lyra and Shayna had a match that, well, we basically had the stud line there. Thanks to Mia Yim, I can never unsee that. We're just going to get the big old stud line right up there. So, we basically ended up having a DQ, and then Damage Control came down. And this is the second roughest 6-way fisting I've seen between all these women, or all women in general, on the internet. You don't want to know about the first. Always leak your search history. A cross pre-tape. My mute button got stuck for some reason. So then, so Ivy's talking to the Creeds, and I guess apparently Ivy by default is with the Creeds and Gable. Whatever. Okay. I haven't seen Ivy for a bit. What the hell has she been doing? And then Maxine rushes in, apparently just realizing that shit, if I don't say all my lines rapid fire, I'm going to forget. Because she said them really, really fast. I don't give a fuck what she said, but she said them really fast. So, Ivy's with the Creeds and Gable, and Maxine said shit. And then here's Punk to a pop. Why is he happy? Because he's in Baltimore for the first time in 10 years. And that he Didn't get everything done at SummerSlam that he wanted to get done. But he gets knocked down, gets back up again. Nothing going to keep him down. He drinks a whiskey drink. He drinks a chocolate drink. When he has to pee, he uses the kitchen sink. And AJ and Larry get very upset when he's a urinating guy. So, he talks about the Summer of Hate, that he came back in 5 months instead of 9. And, okay, there we go. He wants Drew. And then Seth comes out here looking serious. This is sadly the most dialed down that Seth has been as far as a wardrobe. And talks about, wanting to take Punk out. And so, are you going to let me in the ring, or do you want to get your ass kicked out there? And Punk says, I'm not the one that came dressed like a cowboy, but I'll be your Huckleberry. I need to retro review Tombstone because I haven't done that in a while. I have not seen that movie in years, at least in full. Drew is in the crowd. He's trying to get their attention, but they're just staring menacingly at each other. All those people gain to be close to Drew's lengthy claymore. And then he gets Punk's attention by holding up the bracelet that he apparently still has. Whatever. It's alright. Punk chases him. That's it. Yeah. Oh, then here comes Bronson and attacks Seth and hit him with like 18 tsunamis. It was like that concert in Indonesia. Why? Why do I do this? He hit him with a bunch of tsunamis and nobody could stop him. Not even Kenny Dykstra. Petey Williams was also an agent there. I got to see Petey Williams in one of the last indie matches he had. He faced off against Nick Wayne. No, really, that was a match that actually happened about 20 miles from my house. So, Jason Jordan wasn't doing shit. Mainly because his neck is a bag of sand. And yeah, nobody could stop him. Now that's great. That's great. They built all this up, and man, he just was beating him down. Here comes Bronson was beating him down. You know what would have helped? Is if you actually built up the guy properly, because he has been back in the company for now closing in on 2 years. He came back at the very end of December 2022. I know that his wife had a kid. He was going to be there for the birth. That's fine. I got nothing against that. I'm not saying the guy needs to be a main eventer, but it seems like every time he's involved in a feud, he loses. It seems like every time he's involved in something, it's stop, start, stop, start. I think it's too little too late, honestly. I mean, it's a great reaction. Good stuff, but I don't know. Maybe it's just, maybe I'm just being a little bit sour because they could be featuring better people, which I'll talk about here in a little bit. But the crowd loved it, and at least it made Here Comes Bronson look like a beast for one night. I give them a month before they screw it up. And then Jackie's talking to Pierce, and I committed this to fucking memory. So, do you have any update on Seth Rollins? 5 minutes ago, he was coughing up stuff after being hit with the sixth tsunami. 5 minutes have passed, Jackie. I know your memory's probably like a goldfish. I mean, and that's unfair because I'm sure Jackie's nice, but they just put her out there to ask these questions at the worst times. If they had done this 30 minutes later, do you have any update? Oh, he was taken to the hospital. Okay, keep us posted. This is literally in the previous thing. He just got hit with a bunch of goddamn splashes. Oh, he's fine, Jackie. He's fine. He sends his love. Anybody that gets that, I love you guys. Seriously, stop making your backstage interviewers seem confused. Some don't need help. This one in particular. Enough of that. Punk wants Drew, but Pierce has scored Drew out. New Day then took on AOP. Later, Odyssey Jones showed up. Remember when Odyssey Jones made transphobic comments from a burner account? I couldn't actually remember if that was him or not, and then somebody shared the post, and yeah, fuck him. I don't care how big he is. I don't care what impressive shit he can do. I'm not saying he's the only guy, but if I'm going to knock Logan Paul for a lot of shit he's done, yeah, you should know better. You should really fucking know better. I'm not really that upset that I haven't seen Odyssey Jones for a while after that. But he did impressively lift up both members of AOP. I have not seen that before. And double sidewalks, that's impressive. Or double side slams, I really should say. And, yeah, the New Day won. Does anybody care about the Final Testament? Does the fucking Final Testament care about the Final Testament? JD then has a video package where he talks about Priest, and Priest is going to get beat up. Good luck with that, Lord Buckethead. So, backstage with New Day, and Xavier doesn't seem very happy that Jones is part of this. Watch him actually split up New Day. Kofi and Jones is not a good team idea. It's not. Austin Truth took on Waller in Theory. Basically, it was a trade alone thing because Theory and Waller wanted revenge. And they got it. And Miz is probably going to turn on Truth pretty soon, and we're going to get a heel Miz, which, whatever. They flip-flopped him recently about as much as Big Show. So Priest then says he will send JD's big head, or slam his big-headed ass, whatever he said, straight to hell. And then Steiner is more focused, and he is the hunter, not the hunted. JD has been in the ring for 10 minutes now, is what I noted, because that once the Priest package happened, we got JD, he came out, and then Steiner had his promo, and Priest then took on JD, and Carlito was in the corner, and they laid shit in, I'll say that much. JD isn't bad in the ring, but it's just, I'm sorry, it's just, Jesus, it's like watching somebody in NBA Jam with the big head cheat code. I can't unsee it. I can't. They laid shit in, though. They were very intrigued by, Priest being a face. They were very into it. Priest fires up, and then Balor ends up attacking, and we get a 5-on-1 technically, because Liv was causing some of this. And then, oh boy, Rhea shows up, and I thought the roof actually legit came off of the arena. I was like, okay, all right. I wonder what the weather's like in Baltimore. We're about to see. She gets Liv, hits her in the post twice, and it almost gets her, over the barricade, or, to hit into the barricade or something, or maybe to powerbomb her through the announcer table, and Dominic gets her. And then they just beat the teetotal shit out of JD. JD, his head touched the stratosphere for a few seconds on that chokeslam. My God. You know what? If you want to have Rhea and Priest as, as two giants or whatever, two twins, maybe not. Maybe not. That's Sir. A second tower team has entered wrestling. But let's just move on from that. Moving on. That would be fine. I would be all for that. Somebody said Raquel should come back and be Liv's muscle. Can we just forget about Raquel, please? Can we just forget about her? She's not good. Like her and Rhea had, she had her best matches against Rhea. It was like 4 years ago. At least. Enough. Okay? That being said, you know what? Hell of a goddamn raid. They blew the roof off when Rhea came back. And then the stud line attacked Damage Control. Shayna was being a little bit snug with Dakota. If rumor and innuendo is to be believed, I don't blame Shayna. I mean, relationships break up, but oh boy. It's not really any of my business, but when personal stuff gets put out there and people put out a certain image and then they go against that image, whatever. But that being said, yeah, Shayna attacking her ex. And then Io stepped into Dakota's place because it was going to be Dakota against Sonya. I wonder if Dakota's injured. I really hope she's not because I worry she's had knee issues. But anyway, the crowd did not care one bit. Kyrie ended up getting on the goddamn top rope, and she did an insane elbow onto Zoe, who, by the way, was there for the first ever Baltimore show that Vince Sr. put on. I actually remember Jim Crockett Sr. running a couple shows in New York and actually helped book those. I'm kidding. She didn't help book those. Jim Crockett Sr. probably wouldn't have listened to Zoe. But that being said, sure, ref just let all that happen. Io hit a moonsault outside, and then hit a moonsault inside. 1, 2, 3. Then Sammy's talking to, I'm sorry, the 3-on-2 advantage sure worked out for the heels there, didn't it? So anyway, Sammy and Ilya are talking. Ilya's probably going to get a shot against Steiner, I imagine. I thought they were going to go with Gunther versus Ilya. But you know what? Save it for another time. I'm okay with that. We don't need to see an Austrian and a Russian fighting in Germany. Not again, at least. So then Jay's there, and oh boy, we're getting Sammy and Steiner in a 2 out of 3 falls match. So that should be fun. And then Seth has been taken to a local hospital for various injuries, including possible internally anal bleeding. What? Wow. So then we get a Joe Gacy tape. And then we get new music for Gable and Creedzer called American Made. Yeah. American Tailor-Made. Tailor-Made the job. I remember when the Creeds had potential. I don't think that they're going to have any potential while they're involved in this. I hope Gable got a huge boost in pay. They gave the Wyatts a big old entrance. And I'll say this much. It was what Rowan... What was Dexter doing with the goddamn dreads? What is that? Who am I to comment about somebody's hair? But seriously. And Joe Gacy, who's the best worker of the three. Rowan is a big guy that can do a couple decent moves, but he's this side of 40 and has had injuries. So it's American Made against the Blumhouse Bundle. And that's what they are now. They are the Blumhouse Bundle. Baltimore got great main events. They got Sting versus Flair. They got Flair versus Funk. They got all these. They also, unfortunately, got Randy Savage at his physical worst in '99. But I digress. I believe it was him and Kevin Nash. Look, the crowd loved it, and the Wyatts won. Gable got pinned, and the Creeds, whatever. At this next week, if I watch next week, I may just come up with a rule just to skip everything involving the Wyatts. Because I'm sorry, I hate it. It's not for me. If you guys like it, great. So yeah, that's all I gotta say. Agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.